Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk to Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are doing our very first event. We would like to introduce our guests, Dana Hough.
Hello.
And Erik Sandefur.
Howdy.
Why?
Alright, so we are talking about Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. It is an adventure family fantasy film from 2004. It has a 7.9 on 453,638 votes.
How? How did it have a higher rating?
I told you.
I feel like a lot of people that have watched it and voted on IMDb didn't read the books. They just watched the movie and they liked the movie.
I like the movie.
Because I feel like not reading the books, you like the movie a lot.
Well, and there's a new director on this one, and it totally changes all the filming, and it's a big departure from the first one, so grumpy.
So, spoiler-free synopsis. Harry Potter's third year at Hogwarts starts off badly when he learns deranged killer Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban prison and is bent on murdering the teenage wizard, while Hermione's cat torments Ron's sickly rat, causing a rift among the trio. A swarm of nasty Dementors is sent to protect the school from Black. A mysterious new teacher helps Harry learn to defend himself, but what is his secret tie to Sirius Black?
Da, da, da.
Alright, so it's pretty much the same actors, and maybe you got your golden trio, but the director changed, and you can clearly see it in this film. So the director is Alfonso Cuarón, and he's done, of course, he did Prisoner of Azkaban, and another one he's known for is Gravity, which came out in 2013.
Okay.
I like the change, personally. Just because coming from the
non-book side.
You're the non-book person.
Just for the fact that it was, like, it made it, like...
More cinematic.
More cinematic and darker. There was more depth, I feel.
I just thought it was such a drastic change from 2 to 3. Like, I wouldn't mind it. If we had either always done it as his style or not done his style. Like, it was just so crazy from that one to the next one that it was a totally new series.
Well, it's hard when you get new directors because most directors aren't going to be directors for hire. They're going to want to do it the way they want to do it, not the way somebody else wants to do it.
Yeah, and I guess my issue is that, like, it's such an established... Like, by this point, it is an established series. It's super popular. It's, like, based off the books and everything. And I wish that it had stayed a little bit more similar to, like, more true to form. But there is also stuff that I like that we'll get into, so...
I would almost want to see 2 in this style. To see
how it would have been different.
How the darkness would have been different.
Yeah.
Alright. So, Rotten Tomatoes' average rating is a 7.8. Has 91% on 254 critical reviews, 230 fresh, 23 rotten. That doesn't math, but okay.
Shocked.
2 fresh, Christopher Orr. How do you say that?
Yeah, Christopher Orr.
No.
Cuarón's?
Yep, his Prisoner of Azkaban, while a touch less faithful to the details of Rowling's book. Captures far better its moods, the constant sense of wondrous discovery and lurking danger. It is definitely less faithful to details of the book.
Yes.
Joe Morgenstern, we had a review from him in the last one.
Yeah, we saw him earlier.
The right words for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is wondersful. I don't know if he put the S in there on purpose, so I just left it.
Yeah.
Okay.
As in full of wonders. Wondersful. As in full of wonders, great and small.
I guess that's true.
Okay.
And then 2 rotten and Hornaday. This is one long sit, made all this more so by a turgid story, a door visual palette, and uninspiring action. It is definitely a long sit. Because you think you're getting to the end of the movie, and then they go back and do it again.
And then they do it again, and you're like, oh,
okay.
What? And that's one of those, like, if you're not expecting it, you're kind of like, wait.
Why
so we have to do this whole sequence again, you know, so.
Rick Gern?
Yeah.
In a series that's episodic by definition, too many of these episodes lack any climax or payoff. I feel like he was talking about something else, because this is not a TV show.
Be like, I guess you're not watching what we're watching, but it's fine.
And the critics' consensus consensus. Under the assured direction of Alfonso Cuarón, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban triumphantly strikes a delicate balance between technical wizardry and complex storytelling.
I feel like this also set the mood for the rest of the franchise as a movie.
It did.
Okay.
With it getting darker, yeah.
But
I know the book people don't like it as much, but the moviegoers.
See,
as the moviegoer, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Coming from me, I can completely separate them if I need to, because I have to do it with so many other things that I like. So, at times, I do completely separate the two, but with this, I'm trying not to, because we're trying to compare them. So.
And it makes it a little bit more grumpy for us, because...
Very grumpy.
As a standalone movie, it's not bad. Comparing it to an entire series, it was a huge departure, and it's just kind of a struggle for book readers and for people who like similarity across a whole picture, I guess. As a standalone movie, I think it's fine, and I would give it a rating like that, but in a series, I disagree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, so the money.
Money.
It did have a bit bigger of a budget. It had a $130 million budget.
A smidge over the original.
Yeah. And that did not help it. It made less than both of the other movies. The gross in the U.S. was $249,541,069. International, $5.5 million. Well, no, $550 million, just about. Yeah. And then the gross worldwide was almost
the lowest
$800
so
million. Yeah, it is definitely the lowest of the three. Its opening weekend did beat the other two at $93 million. Yeah, and its highest all-time domestic rank is 119. Highest all-time rank is 32 from August 13th, 2004. And
I think it's interesting in that sense because we read through the reviews and the critiques, and it's like, oh yeah, this movie is really good, but you can see in the fan base that people didn't like it as much as they liked the first two.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of
from
times,
our standpoint, you can see where it was like, oh, this is different.
And a lot of times that does happen, like people love these movies but critics hate it, or critics love these movies and people hate it. Like there's so many movies that critics have loved, and I'm like, why in the world did you like this?
Watching?
I mean, an example with our movies on our list.
Yeah,
too.
some of the movies on our list have been very high rated critically, and I'm just like, what in the world?
Okay, so. Awards.
And this one was nominated for 2 Oscars. I didn't write them down. Won 14 awards and had 45 other nominations. It won a Best Feature Film.
Children's Award, that's cool.
Yep. And most of
Similar
the rest of
to
them.
The previous.
Most of the rest of them are all the same.
Got a trailer award.
Yep. It did win, for the second trailer that came out, Best Animation/Family. For that trailer it won. It won Top of the Box Office in NRJ Cine Awards, which is a foreign award.
Oh, I was like, how? Teen Choice.
Yep, Teen Choice it won. A lot of these are the same.
Yeah.
Oh, the Hippogriff character did win. Outstanding performance by an animated character in a live-action motion picture.
Nice.
Cool.
So, Buckbeak did win.
Go Buckbeak!
I do imagine like Buckbeak.
People's Choice Award for John Williams.
Because he's still a badass.
Because it's John Williams.
John Williams is the man.
Although that is another thing that changed a lot with this film, I believe, too, is the soundtrack is a lot different than it has been in the previous two.
They made it a lot darker.
It's a lot darker. It's a lot kind of like creepier, I guess. Obviously, all the same themes are still there, but it was definitely a lot different from the first two.
More like medieval Renaissance-y kind of feel.
Yeah. It's funny, my brother makes
more
fun
oboe.
of this movie.
More bassoon. More double reads in this movie.
Oboe.
He makes fun of this one and Deathly Hallows Part 1. He's like, do they not have a lighting budget?
Literally so dark.
That's why my brother laughs, and I'm like, well, you're kind of right with this one. So,
alright.
So,
initial thoughts.
No.
We've pretty much voiced, I think, mostly
Seeing as how this was the last movie I watched before I was able to read the books. I actually quite enjoyed it the first time I watched it, not knowing any of the background and what was wrong with it. But now that I know what's wrong with it, I don't like it as much.
I will admit, Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite book of the entire series. It's my favorite book. Mm-hmm. And I was very excited to see the movie. I was like, alright, yes, my favorite book's going to be made into a movie. And I was completely disappointed. I felt like I was let down.
I've had that, not with these, because these, as much as I love these books, these are not my favorite books. Mm-hmm. I had that problem with Vampire Academy. Yes. I was so mad. I was devastated.
I think for me, for this movie, I actually thought it wasn't, like, my personal opinion, I think it wasn't that terrible from, like, book to movie standpoint, because I did read the book before seeing this movie, and I thought it was mostly, like, on track in that sense. I mean, this is when the book started to get a little longer, so they cut more out of it. Mm-hmm. But, really, for me, the biggest thing was the filmmaking. Like, it was just such a departure from what we were used to that I felt like I was watching a completely new series, and that's not the feel that I wanted. I wanted to jump back into the story, not start a new one.
Exactly.
I like this one just for the sheer fact that it introduced some of my favorite characters in the series. Mm-hmm. And I like the way they introduced them. I know that's not exactly how it was meant to be, but I feel they were portrayed very well for the people they cast for them. They were cast very...
There's some good casting.
Yeah, there's great casting.
And I like this Dumbledore too, because we get a new Dumbledore.
Yep.
We're forced to get a new Dumbledore.
We're forced to get a new Dumbledore, unfortunately, but I like the new Dumbledore because he demands a presence that I feel like the first one kind of just...
That was one of those things that we were wondering about.
It's needed much more in this movie than it was in the first two.
And that's one of those I've always wondered, like, would Richard Harris have been able to stand the test of time with these movies? Would he have fulfilled Dumbledore's role as well as, like, this new Dumbledore has? Or would we...
I've always wondered that, too.
Yeah, it's just one of those we'll never get to know, but this new Dumbledore definitely does a good job for the Dumbledore we now need.
Yeah.
So.
One other thing...
Michael Gambon that, yeah.
Yes.
One other thing that I did really like about this is that it was so much darker, and I love horror movies. Those are my favorite, and this just got me so much closer to taking this series that I already started liking towards a horror movie, and so I was even more happy with it because it was pulling towards that, and that's why I love the rest of them so much more than I love the first two.
Okay.
Because they are so much more like a horror movie.
And this was that awkward turning point in the series, because it's like, okay, so we learn about Voldemort the first time, we learn about Voldemort's past in the second one, and then it's like, okay, now we gotta get back to the present and kind of really dig deep into what this story is going to be about.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be as much of a children's movie anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be for a broader audience now, and we need to find how to address that, and so it was going to be the turning point. Whether it was completely graceful or not is up for debate, but... You know, they definitely addressed the darker side of the story now, so.
Yep.
Alright.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop and go watch it and come back. Listen here.
Woohoo! Woo! Listen to us gripe about this movie. Ready to go.
Yep.
It's like...
And I literally just finished this book this morning.
So
when we were recording it, so I have it, like, I read it over the past 4 days, so like, it's very fresh in my mind.
Bang, bang.
Like, I know exactly what's wrong.
Alright, well, let's just start out with the point that this movie starts with underage magic.
Yes.
Yes, I was like, how the hell
I swear
that?
Especially for this movie specifically, we get into it a little bit later that underage magic is something that you can get in trouble for, and it's something that is frowned upon, and you're supposed to get letters for it and stuff, and we literally open with Harry practicing magic in his bedroom in the middle of a muggle suburb.
Yes.
Why is this a thing?
Yes.
Why are we just learning Lumos now?
We're not. We're learning
Lumos
extreme.
Maxima.
Lumos Maxima.
Like, most...
The brightest you can go.
Okay.
The biggest.
Yes.
But why didn't we use it earlier?
They didn't know
using lanterns?
They didn't know it.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's learning. He's doing homework. He's learning it now.
Okay.
I
just
he's
feel
not
like
supposed to be using
When
magic around muggles.
When he used the lantern, he hadn't learned Lumos yet.
yeah, but I just always thought that was kind of
Yeah.
after seeing all three
It
together.
seems like it's a remedial
You
spell.
know more of the spells that they learn from the books. You
You
don't
don't
get
see
as
as much
many of the
spell work
spells
as
in
we would like.
the movies.
Yeah.
So Aunt Marge is coming to visit.
The worst.
She's a great actress, though.
Oh, she does a wonderful job.
Also, for
Fantastic.
those who don't know, she played Trunchbull in our childhood classic movie Matilda. If you didn't make that connection, that is who that is.
Oh.
Yeah,
you didn't know that?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You know how many actors I don't know who they are until you tell me who they are?
I have to show her pictures.
So yeah, that's who that is, and that explains a lot about the kind of character that we see. So if you didn't know that, fun fact.
Yeah, she
Also, Aunt Marge is the worst. She
That's
literally,
awesome.
like...
I'm just so much happier with her now.
You're like, this makes so much sense.
You're like, oh, okay.
She treats Harry like a servant.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's even really worse than... She treats him worse than the Dursleys treat him.
Yeah.
And it's unnerving.
And what you don't get is that Harry is trying to be on his best behavior because he
trying.
wants the Dursleys to sign his permission form to go to Hogsmeade.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
he was told that he would sign it at the end of her visit.
Her visit.
So he is trying his hardest to be on his best behavior when he
And this
knows
is
that
the-
she's just going to berate him the whole time.
Yeah, and this is the end of the visit, too. So this
Yeah.
dinner, she's going to leave, like, the next day, I
Yeah.
think. And so that's why he's kind of happy when you see him in the kitchen, because he's
Yeah.
like, she's almost gone, I almost made it, I'm going
Like,
to
I'm
get
going
to
to
go
get
to
to go
Hogsmeade.
Hogsmeade. And then she starts talking shit about his parents. Like, she has never met his parents. She doesn't know who they are. She just automatically assumes that because what the Dursleys have told her, he had horrible parents because she raises dogs, and if
There's something wrong with the bitch, then there's something
Yep.
wrong with the pup.
and then Harry accidentally blows her up.
And he literally just loses his shit, and he's like, I don't even care, I'm going to make you a balloon. And it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Yep.
she literally blows
Physically blows her up.
Yeah,
Like, physically.
up, like
like
blows up like a
with the
balloon.
not
with
kaboom,
helium.
not kaboom.
Yes.
Like a balloon.
Like-
Like a balloon.
Like,
like with helium. I don't know.
this is...
I like the sound effect better.
One thing I did like about this style of movie making this time around was that there was a little bit more intentional humor.
Yeah,
Because they knew it was about to get dark, and they're like, you know what, we should probably throw in a little bit more laughs in this and give them some lighter stuff, because it's... We're going to get to a point where that's few and far between.
yep. And then Harry runs away after he blows her up.
Yeah, also Petunia wasn't even mad.
Yes.
She was just kind of like, oh.
Waving.
She literally doesn't do anything to help. She's just watching, like, huh, that's interesting.
Okay.
And then Harry's like, okay, I'm out here. I'm bouncing.
I really want to know what she's thinking. I want to know if she's
I do.
thinking.
That's another side story that I'd love to hear, is what Petunia actually thinks about everything.
Because there are times in the books where you can tell she's not quite happy with Marge being there.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
So Harry runs away, and he's in the park.
And Marge is still floating in the background.
Yes.
She's screaming.
They did
"Run
such a
away."
good job with that. Like, way better than I would have imagined it being.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, well, this is still happening. She's not going fast. She
Yeah,
didn't just
because
disappear.
in the book, to me, they made it seem like she was still in the house. I didn't
that,
get
or she,
the
like,
impression.
floated out and then away.
Yeah, I didn't
forever.
really get the impression that she was still around making any kind of havoc.
Yes.
But here, you
You
get
really-
the
it's a
awesome
lingering
scene
effect.
of her blowing up, and then you see her, he's in the park, trying to get away from it, and she's just
Floating in the background, still yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
Creepy
And
playground
so-
is creepy.
He sees the Grim.
This big black dog.
Yes. And I wish
he
they
only
had
catches-
make it bigger.
Yeah, I always pictured the dog much bigger, and I do like that you only kind of get a glimpse of him at the start. Like, you just kind of see, like, the outline of his face just a little bit, and he's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's a big black dog.
Yeah. Growling and backs up, and
Because in the books they describe it as a bear-sized dog.
yeah, he's bear-sized. Like, this,
Because
he's supposed to be huge.
they explain later why he became that way, and we'll get to it. But
So yeah, I
needed
was
to
with
be
you.
that
I
big.
pictured a bigger animal.
He wasn't even the size of a wolf. He was between.
He was a dog.
He's like a dog.
He was probably like a German Shepherd sized dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just about.
And
So then
then
Harry's
the
like,
night
"Oh,
bus
shit."
comes because he
And-
stuck his wand out.
Yeah, so the deal with that, if you guys don't know, the night bus, in order to hail the night bus from wherever, you have your wand out and you fling it out,
Stick your wand.
hand out, and act like you're calling a cab, and apparently it'll show up out of nowhere and
Yep.
almost run your ass over.
Yep.
Stan Shunpike was fabulous.
Yes, I loved him.
I loved
He did a
him. I
great
think
job.
he was wonderfully cast, and he was hilarious. He's like, "What'd you fall over for?"
What you looking at?
I've always
you
thought of
looking
the
at?
night bus as like this on the same level as the taxi from Halloween Town.
Yes.
Like
Such
on
a
that
good
same kind of
comparison.
plane.
Yes.
Yeah, Ernie definitely drives similarly to the skeleton
Mm-hmm.
in Halloween.
And one thing that I liked that you two did not was the little voodoo head.
the
I
shrunken
liked
head
him.
drives me up the fucking wall.
I liked him.
I don't.
I know that he wasn't in the books, and I know it wasn't necessary, but
Yeah.
I really love the Pirates movies, and that just reminds me. Because originally when I saw it, I didn't really care whether he was there or not. And then Pirates came out, and
Well, that was
I
before you read the
love
books and everything.
Pirates, and I was just like, hey, he reminds me of this. I like him.
I just thought he was completely unnecessary. I was like, why did you add this random character? Why did you spend the money on this?
Yeah.
I thought it was
This
annoying.
thing that was annoying and unnecessary.
I feel like it's a small detail over a larger movie that's not that.
Well, they do have a point of why waste money on this when you could
Yeah,
have put it
when
into
you could have put
something
it
else.
elsewhere. Because that did
Okay.
because it is like, it's
It
all
is a
CGI.
very CGI character.
And, like, it could have been... We could have had more hippogriffs, guys, but
Yes.
no, we had a shrunken head that wasn't in the book. Although, one of the funny lines I liked was when he's counting and he's like, 10, 9, 8, 7. Like, what number is 8? Like, I don't... Yikes.
So Harry sees the paper that Stan is reading.
He's like, hey, who's that? Like,
He's like,
the
you
fuck
don't know
you
who
mean, who's that?
Sirius Black is? Like, what rock have you been under?
Also...
Not Patrick's, because Patrick would know.
Patrick might know.
He has a TV.
He does have people. Something that was not addressed, and we're going to get into a lot of book versus movie details, but when Harry gets on the night bus, he lies about who he is.
Yeah,
Because
they
he's
didn't
now
say
fully
that.
aware that everybody knows who the fuck he is, so he covers his scar and he says he's Neville Longbottom.
Yep, because it's the first wizard, the first name that comes to his head.
Yeah, the first one that pops up, so then Stan calls him Neville for the rest of the ride, and that's who he assumes he is because
And
Stan's
even
not
in
bright.
front, like when he gets off the night bus and is in front of the minister, he still calls him Neville.
He's like,
Neville.
why are you talking to Neville like that? And it's just like, you're not understanding what is happening right now. But anyway, so that's why he's just kind of talking to Harry like he's normal. Like, that's not something that's really addressed, and I thought it was important because everybody knows who he is.
Yep.
Yes.
And so he explains to him about Sirius Black and how he escaped from Azkaban. And
He's a murderer.
Azkaban is the wizard prison. My image is like before.
It's hard for me to have a previous image now,
It's
now that we have the image.
what I would imagine the one in San Francisco being.
Alcatraz.
Yes.
The one it was based
Yes.
kind of loosely
That's what
off
I was
of.
thinking of, yeah.
Alcatraz, Azkaban. Kind of the same
Close, yeah.
same mindset. But yeah, that's kind of how I pictured it too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't picture it so tall.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, they said it was pretty much like a fortress in the middle of the ocean, and that is what it is. But yeah, the original picturing.
I could have thought of it as like the one in Captain America: Civil War, where it's under the ocean.
Oh yeah.
That like in the ocean.
In the ocean, but like it's just like on
Literally in
top and then just down
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
So
Cool.
I like the whole drive.
The drive
entertaining.
was very. That was very accurate. I think like
Yeah.
it was really nuts and crazy, and I like showing it like going between the cars and like stopping and going because it's so fast and it just appears out of nowhere, and it's the Mongols don't see it because it's moving so fast.
Yeah.
And you know, if they do glimpse it, they're like, no, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It's just
You know, we've all
Or they
been
think
taught
it's
that-
aliens.
They think it's something that's...
I live on the book. He's driving on the sidewalk too sometimes, and
Yeah.
things are gonna jump out of the way.
Yeah, literally, like,
Things
there's a
like
charm
a building
around...
jumps out of the way.
Literally a whole building. Like, there's a charm on the bus, and so there's, like, trees and mailboxes and stuff. If he gets
Jump
close
out
to
of the way.
something, it moves out of the way for it, so it doesn't
Yep.
run it over. And, I mean, they kind of did a different play on that in that
Yeah.
it fits in between things
Yeah.
rather than the things moving out of the way. Like,
Yeah,
there's a
that's
force field or something. But, so we get to the Leaky Cauldron, and I'm sorry, that is not Tom. When
Thank
did
you.
Tom become a totally different creature? Like,
Thank you.
Tom the barman was an actual wizard,
Yeah.
human being
And he
person, and now
looks
he's
more
like,
Quasimodo.
No,
that's
Igor.
not what, yep, that's what I was thinking.
yep, from Frankenstein.
I can understand Quasimodo, but the way he acted and the way he looked at it and the
was like
dark
he had no-
nature of this movie, more
He
Put
looked
it
like
towards-
Nosferatu.
Yes.
It's pretty dark too.
Or
if you really read Hunchback, it's dark.
Christopher,
read it.
the other one from Addams Family.
Oh, Uncle Fester.
Yes,
Fester.
that's the other one
Yep.
that I was thinking.
See that?
Lots of
Bald
comparisons.
characters.
bald characters, lots of inspiration. But yeah, I was really grumpy because it's like, this is a character we've already met, and you totally remade him.
Yeah.
And now he's like, he's not even like a person at this point, and it was just, that was something that I was grumpy about, because even
Same.
you take the books completely out of it, we already met this actor. Someone
And
already
yeah,
portrayed
changing
him, and
him.
you changed it. And you made him completely different. You didn't just change the actor, like, you changed the character. And I didn't like that.
Same.
Also, the Leaky Cauldron seems really dark and
Yeah.
gloomy, scary now, and creepy, and I'm like, but it's still like the main hub, like, I don't think it would be so.
And then Harry meets with the Minister of Magic about the events with Marge, and he just kind of like blows
Underage
off.
magic.
He just blows off the fact that Harry
He literally
did
is
this.
like, you know what? It's cool. It's fine. I'm the minister.
And you don't
It's all
really
good.
get a hint of why until later in
Until
the movie.
later in the, later in the series even. It kind of
Yeah.
like, in
the
big picture.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you don't figure out why till later, and it's like, okay, so why is the minister picking up Harry Potter and taking him places? Like,
Yep.
the minister for magic
Yeah.
is personally handling Harry Potter. Like, why?
And then in the books, it's like 3 weeks between when Harry gets there and when everyone else gets there.
Yeah, so it's like a whole, he spends the rest of his summer at the Leaky
Okay.
Cauldron.
Yeah, he's
Diagon
3
Alley.
weeks
Which-
until he goes back to school. Well, until
I
they
mean-
get there, and then another week when they are there
Mhm.
before school starts. And so you miss this whole bit of him exploring.
And it's
Diagon
kind
Alley.
of interesting, too, because, like, there's a smidgen of, like, a time lapse. Like, you can kind of tell because he's, like, in his room. And
Yeah.
I like that they show the Muggle side of the Leaky Cauldron. Because, like,
Yeah.
you look out and you see, like, normal, like, just Muggles doing
Yeah.
Muggle stuff and they're Muggle trained and blah, blah. And it's
Also,
like,
he learned how to dress himself finally.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Harry's clothes fit now. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a nice
I
development.
wrote that in. I was like, they fit now. I'm so happy about that.
But yeah, in the books, Harry gets to wander around Diagon Alley and he becomes friends with, like, Florian Fortescue.
Yeah, he gets ice
Fortescue's
cream all the time.
He gets ice cream all the time and he helps him with his homework.
Yep.
And, like, he just, like, gets to wander around and go see all the things. He
Because
sees
as
all
long
the
as
new
he's
stuff
in
that-
Diagon Alley, nothing can happen because there's so many people there keeping an eye.
Literally,
Like,
everybody's watching Harry Potter. Like, there's no way anything can
Yeah.
happen as long as he doesn't leave Diagon Alley. And he gets to see the new Firebolt because it's on display in the Quality Quidditch Supplies shop.
Yep.
And, like, there's just a bunch of cool, like,
Oh,
little
you
stuff that you get to
about
see.
that,
Yeah.
And then they make it seem like
The Monster Book of Monsters was so good, guys.
I love it.
It was so
I'll
funny.
give it that.
Like, that was portrayed well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have, like, pictured that differently.
And
And it was
then-
funny.
I like that.
Crookshanks chasing Scabbers. They make it seem like Hermione had Crookshanks all summer when
She
really
got
she got
him
him
when
right
she got
when she
there.
got there.
Yeah, she, like, goes in because they went into the magical menagerie to get stuff for Scabbers because he's been sick.
Yes.
Because reasons. And but Scabbers has not been looking so hot, so they go to get him medicine from the magical menagerie, and Hermione falls in love with this giant ugly orange cat.
It's her birthday present.
It's her
Yeah.
birthday present.
What did she
Her
have
birthday's
before
in
that?
September.
Nothing.
Nothing.
She
Okay.
didn't have anything.
Okay.
It was
But
So
her
this is her
parents-
first pet.
Her
Okay.
parents gave her money for her birthday, and
To go
she
get
went
what
to
she-
get a pet.
Yeah. So she got to pick out a pet, and there was none that she liked. She was looking at everything, and then she discovered Crookshanks because he'd been there forever and everybody hated him.
And so Ron was in Egypt over the summer because
his family won.
Yeah, money.
They won money, so
they won a contest.
You go from Weasleys don't have money to the
something?
Weasleys went to Egypt. Yeah, 1,000 galleons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like that's a big plot hole.
Yeah, they should have said that because like you said, 2 movies, they were poor. And now all of a sudden
they went on a big trip. Like
I thought they won the trip, not the money.
That's fair. Yeah, and
then,
it may have said I need to actually like read the paper when they show it because I just always look at the picture. But it may say something around it that says, "Oh, winners of blah blah blah."
It said grand prize something.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, they won that, and so they used it to go to Egypt.
And Hermione also was on a trip all summer
with her parents.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I was thinking. But they don't say anything about that.
And then they all show up here so that they can go school shopping.
Yep. And Mr. Weasley tells Harry that Sirius is after him and that's why he escaped.
Yep. Yeah. Kind of nice for Arthur to give Harry a heads up and be like, so here's what's actually happening. Like, I realize you're a child,
you this way.
But like this is why you've pretty much got bodyguards everywhere you go.
Yep. And then another thing that they don't show is that they get ministry cars to escort them to King's Cross.
Yep. Fudge is bending over backwards to protect him and to try and keep this all hush-hush, and so they send... Yeah, because they go from the Leaky Cauldron, I guess, to King's Cross.
Because they're all staying at the Leaky Cauldron.
And so they send ministry cars, and they're like all expanded on the inside because there's a million Weasleys.
Yep.
And so they make a bunch of room for them
Weasley
to
clad.
put all of their
There's
everything.
a lot of them. And then
also, Harry is so done with people trying to kill him at this point. We are only 3 movies in, and he's already over it. Like
he's like, damn it!
He literally he's like again. Arthur's telling him, and he's like, so he's trying to kill me. Like he's not even phased anymore. Like he's already done.
And he's 13.
He's 13, and he's already like, okay, it's fine.
And then so they are on the train, and they go in, and the only cabin left with any room is the one that Professor R.J. Lupin is in.
Remus Lupin.
They did good with that. And
yeah.
She's like, R.J. Lupin. He's like, you know everything. It's like, it's on his suitcase, Ronald.
Oh.
Like, you fucking idiot.
Also, like, I like from this one that as the whole movie, like, you get to, I feel like as a whole, you get to see puberty.
Yes.
With because Draco was still Draco. Like his voice dropped, but he still looked like young Draco. And this one, he finally grew into his
face,
his hair,
his hair.
Yes.
Grew into his hair.
And
this is
and
the
you get to
worst
see
Draco hair, though.
and
Like,
you get to see
so bad.
Hermione actually grow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And kick
Yeah, we're starting to see them actually be teenagers. And be awkward.
Total.
I love the fact that they actually got children to do this, so that way we could watch them grow through the movies instead of getting
casting
people that were
an
older.
18-year-old as a 12-year-old.
Yeah,
like
and then just having it be like, well, what the fuck? This is not a
Like, but
child.
they're
Like, I
already
did not
adults.
look like that when I was 12.
Yeah.
yeah, but no, we actually look like them as they go. Like,
Except for now, I feel like that they see 13-year-olds and they look like I do now, and I'm like, what the
you're
fuck?
like, where is all your awkwardness?
Supposed to have an
So
awkward face.
the train is stopped for Dementors.
Fuck the Dementors. They did a really good job with them.
They
I
did.
agree.
And I feel like that's where all the CG budget went.
Literally.
Dementors.
That's
Well,
okay.
and it was nice because it wasn't exactly how I pictured it reading it, but they portrayed it so well, and they're so creepy, and they're so scary. Like,
And I loved the fact that, having watched this before I got to read it, that I could take that image and not
And
have
put
to
it
come
in the
up with
book.
something myself.
yes.
Okay.
Because there are times when I'm reading and
You
I'm just
can't
like, I
picture
can't. That's just such an awkward thing. I don't know how to picture that.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
It's nice to have one to just
Throw
copy
in
and
there,
paste
yeah.
into your book.
And so they search the train looking for Sirius Black, and they stop and find Harry. And because he's had such tragic events happen to him,
They
are
just gravitate
drawn to
towards him. Like, they're like, this
They
kid
don't
has
really
so much
explain
pain.
that.
Yeah, just because he's had so much loss and so much hurt and so much tragedy in his life, they're like, this kid has a lot of sadness. Let's gravitate towards
It's
him.
like, that is delicious.
I thought of it as either it was like since Sirius broke out to get to Harry sort of thing. It would like they were connected to that.
That's fair
Okay.
for not knowing.
Or that he was somehow related to him, which we find out later. He's the godson, but like that sort something along those lines to be connected to Harry in a different way.
I thought animation wise, I liked that they kind of went with like the sucking, like trying to show that they're sucking the happiness and
Yeah.
stuff. They made it like a physical
Yeah.
thing rather than them just like having to act like sadder and lonelier. Like,
Yeah.
they actually gave you something to see.
Yeah.
Like, these
I'll give it
Dementors
that.
are affecting these people.
Yeah.
Does it look really weird? Yes, but
Totally
I don't know
looks
how
weird.
you would make that better. So.
And you don't quite see it, but Lupin does stop them. You get the impression of that.
Yeah, we haven't learned what a Patronus is yet, but that happens, and
Yep.
then,
He gives them chocolate.
yeah.
Yum, yum.
I also
You'll
really
feel
like
better.
in this one, Hermione is really calmed down by this point, and she's starting to be really, really caring about these boys. Like,
Yep.
so now every time something bad happens, Hermione is the closest person. Like, she's the first immediate person to
Yep.
whoever is hurt at that point, and she's like, "Are you okay?" She's very concerned. She's really grown attached to
Well,
these
because
two.
when you are the only girl in the group of your friends,
Mhm.
you become the mom.
Yep.
Yep.
Let me tell you.
Let me tell you about being the mom.
Tell you about
It's kinda-
Sean.
It's kind of funny because we are all separately in charge of our own like group of boys.
Yes.
So we all mom them separately, and then we all get together, and it's like
And
none
then
of us
I'm
want
the
a
only
mom.
guy.
And
None
then,
of us want a mom at that point.
then we
We're
have
like,
Paula to mom.
yeah. Then Paula moms the
thank
rest
God.
of us. And I'm like, good, because I'm tired of doing it.
Yes.
But yeah, and then so Lupin saves the day, and he wakes up, and he's like, "Here, have some chocolate." And chocolate is actually a really important factor with Dementors in the book, and it actually literally like physically warms you up
Yep.
again, like because you get super cold and clammy and just like sad after you've had an interaction with a Dementor, and the chocolate literally like warms up your entire system again.
I just always liked that it was chocolate, and I didn't know it was like he was sucking. They were sucking the happiness and all
Yeah.
that out.
Mhm.
Like I just thought it was sucking the life out of him. So he's like, "Here's some sugar."
Well,
to
it
cheer you
does
up."
eventually
Yeah.
get to that with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did J.K. Rowling mention with the Dementors how it was like her symbolism for depression?
I think so.
I think she did.
Somewhere
Yeah.
said it
And
somewhere.
it's really good because that's how it can feel for people. You know, it's just like there's
Oh,
this
yes,
source
it
that's
does.
literally just taking all your energy, all your happiness, all your everything, and it's awesome to have a physical representation of that.
Yep. They get to Hogwarts, and
I like that we have an actual song and it has
Yes.
lyrics, and it was really good.
I loved that song.
like so good, and there's a choir. Like they're showing the arts at Hogwarts, and I'm like, see, it's still important even in the wizarding world. You still have to have creativity, fam.
Frog choir.
Frog choir is
and
great.
that song just to me screams Halloween.
Screams Halloween,
Yes.
screams witchcraft, wizardry.
It's almost Danny Elfman-esque.
Yes.
It's from Macbeth.
Yeah, because I know I've heard it before. I knew it wasn't original to this because I've heard it in something else.
That's what it's from.
And
It's
that
not-
It's
little,
the Three
That's
Witches.
That's not what I've heard it from, but that I know.
that is a source.
Yes.
I will be the odd one out and say I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
I
Why?
didn't like the song. I was like, okay, we're just adding the song. Okay.
I don't know if I like the song. I just like the idea of that
Of a song?
of a song of something
Mhm.
showing that
I
there's
like that
there's
it's
other
the only
groups
one.
other
We
than
don't
Quidditch.
really do that again. I mean, obviously we
Yeah.
have like there's no more really we don't hear the school song too much.
No.
It's deleted later, and we don't like there's not like more choir songs,
Yeah.
I guess.
You don't hear the school song. The Huggy Huggy one.
You do though. It's a deleted scene later on.
Not in this.
Not in this. No, I'm just saying down the road.
I was like, it's not in this, so you can't really.
No, not this one. I'm just saying in general.
All right, so
Yeah,
they
so
get
that was cool.
they're at Hogwarts, and the song ends, and Dumbledore. The sorting is over.
Oh, and they went up in the carriages. They actually
Yes, they
showed
did.
that.
They
They
did.
travel in the
Which was
horseless
nice.
carriages to the castle.
Horseless.
Horseless, air quotes. But
New Dumbledore!
So yep, you see the new Dumbledore, which I do think that he is perfect for this
For
because he needs to
Here
be.
forward.
Yeah, he needs to be exactly what he is.
And he has more energy to him, and I like that he still has a teeny bit of kind of like a mystical quality
Yes.
to him. But it's not as whimsical as it was before. But there's still like there's something that's a little off in there somewhere.
I just feel like if they could have combined both of them together,
Perfect.
it would have been perfect.
I'm glad they didn't address the fact that it was somebody else doing it too. Like, because I
That's
feel like
true.
something they could have done something there, like comedic or not, but along those lines, and it's just this is the new guy, deal with it. I felt like that was better than not addressing it at all, or addressing it in some way.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there would have been an opening for it.
No,
so.
there wouldn't have been a way. Because just the way that this series works, there's no way that
There's no.
Dumbledore would have changed that much and have an opening to acknowledge that he had changed that much.
Yeah, so they're just like, you know what? This is just what happened. And
Yeah.
It's like,
I think it was
everyone
also.
died.
Yeah, and it was also because of the nature of why it happened. You know, it wasn't like we replaced him because this guy something. Like, no, the original died and we had to
He
pick a
died.
new person.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So then he announces that Lupin is the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher,
Hooray.
and that Hagrid is
Hagrid
the
is a
new
teacher.
Care of Magical Creatures
I
teacher.
loved how Hagrid was right
He was
before he
just like-
said it. He was just like so excited.
Like, guys.
He's like, I'm a teacher. He's just so excited
Yeah.
and he's nervous. I love that.
And-
Also, Draco Malfoy forgot his gel at home this year, and
That's not
Flitwick
Flickback.
de-aged. He
Yes.
Benjamin buttoned, and he's no
Like,
longer
completely.
wispy white hair and everything. Like, he has combed brown hair and a mustache, and I'm like, what?
I was like, okay.
Took the de-aging spell.
De-aging. He went the other way. Instead of forward, he went backwards.
Yes.
Well, and at first, that was one of those things where it's like, did we cast someone different? Like,
Yeah, it
It's
took me
such
a
a
while to
drastic
figure out
change
that it
to
was
realize
the same
It's the
person.
same.
yeah, and so I'm like, so you cast the same person, so why does he look so different? Like, what? Another one of those changes, like, why though?
Yep.
Different directors.
And then Hogwarts is also under protection-ish from the Dementors.
Yeah, the Dementors
Well,
are stationed around the school.
Dementors from Sirius.
Yes. They're protecting Hogwarts so that Sirius does not get in.
Yeah, well.
That works.
And then we get the happiness can be found even in the darkest of times quote, which is one of my favorites. Obviously, if I have it tattooed on me, I like it. So.
It's like when one only remembers to turn on the light.
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
And then we go
New fat
to...
lady!
Yeah. The new fat lady. And she
she's-
is better. I
She's
do
so
like her
much.
better.
That was
She's
definitely
sassy.
an upgrade
Dawn
because
French. Man, she's awesome. She's a British comedian.
she's funny. And it was so much more accurate to the books.
Yeah.
That was definitely an upgrade because you get a lot more sass and like conversation with the fat lady throughout
Yeah.
the books, and the original would not have done that justice, not even close.
No.
I did not like her portrayal, so this one was definitely an upgrade.
Yep.
Swat.
And then you meet... Wait, no. Then
Oh,
they're in their dormitory.
which
I don't like.
changed location
Yeah,
Yeah,
again.
I did.
They changed
because
so many times.
it used to be like in its own hallway, and there was like a whole like walk up to it, and now it's just at the top of a staircase. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Gryffindor common room is right here. Like, okay, we just moved it, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
I got tired of how many times they move stuff around.
Also, Neville is wearing a sweater vest over his pajamas. Did anybody else notice that? Because I did.
Yeah.
Neville probably forgot how to get dressed.
Neville forgets a lot of things, so, you know, getting dressed might be one of those things. But when they're playing animal jelly beans or whatever it is that they're eating.
Or maybe he was cold.
Isn't it something with, like, he had to wear, like, buck teeth and stuff? As
Oh,
an
well,
actor?
yeah,
But, like, maybe that's how they address the fat suit or something. I don't know.
He wasn't
That's
fat anymore, though.
Not this one.
He wore one for a long time, so.
He wore, yeah. It wasn't as much in this one because, and I think it's also puberty, so like he's losing his baby fat, growing into his body and stuff, but he was terribly buck-toothed, and
Awkward Neville is still awkward.
awkward Neville is still awkward for the next
I love
long bit
Neville.
here.
I'll defend Neville till the end.
So they do the weird jelly bean thing. And then...
Oh, that was
And
cool.
then we go to our first.
It just doesn't make sense.
Thank you.
It was just, I mean, it was random, but I liked it too because it shows teenage boys.
Yeah.
Like, boys being boys doing stupid things in their dormitory. Like, I liked it because
I
the one
just
thing.
don't understand it because we've never heard anything about this type of candy. We've heard about every
Yeah,
other
I
single
think they
type
could
of
have picked
candy.
Yeah.
another
Okay,
route to
okay.
do it.
Yeah.
I liked that we got to see teenage sides of them, and you know, they're still students, they're still kids at this point.
Also, them
And-
just hanging out. Like,
Yeah, that's where I was going with it, is that I really liked the new director's idea of like, let's give them a little bit more wiggle room as far as their outfits, as far as their personalities. Like, you start to see them more, and it's something you see it in their in their uniforms. Like, Hermione is still mostly done up almost exactly to school dress code. Harry is kind of following it a little bit more loose. Ron is completely a mess. Like, barely. He's lucky he has clothes on. Like, but you get to see it in all of the different characters, and they have more of a personality now. Like, they're not just, like, cookie-cutter students anymore. And I like that. And that was something that happened with the whole dormitory scene, but the random new candy that we've never heard of was... I agree with that.
Thing.
It's a little bit of a...
It would have been less
departure.
confusing if it wasn't a candy we hadn't heard of, because we'd heard of so many different ones, and this one just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So now we get to meet Trelawney.
In divination, Hermione does not subscribe to this at all.
I feel like Hermione some days. I really do.
Honestly.
Is this two things that she's not good at?
Yes, this is 2 of 2.
Yeah.
She's not good at it because
she doesn't want to be good at it. She doesn't care.
She doesn't accept it. So she
doesn't believe in it. So she's automatically bad at
and
it because she
I'm
doesn't care.
definitely in her boat. I don't do the hypnosis shit. I don't do predictions.
Premonitions.
Like, you can tell me all this shit's gonna happen. The world's gonna end. Okay, congratulations. You think you know what you're talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to accept it no matter how much you try to shove it down my throat. I'm not going to accept it.
Well, and it's so predictable, Hermione, because she is such a logical person. Like, divination is so full of shit for her. Like, she's just like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Like, she would literally rather take Muggle studies. Growing up as a Muggle, she'd rather take that than divination because it's just dumb.
I gotta agree with Hermione on
It's
this
just
one.
dumb. And this is the first time through all my notes, I wrote down Magic Hermione. Because she just keeps showing up.
I like that they did that, but that's not the way it happens. She shows up before the classes.
Yeah,
and she goes in with
and
them.
they're like, where have you been? Like,
and...
Or she'll, like, she's with them, and then she's not, and then she is with them again. Like,
where'd you go?
There's a continuity error with her timing. And so that's where you see it. But for cinematic purposes, it works.
It works. I will say it works.
Grim!
So,
tea leaves
the tea leaves that Ron was reading, Harry was supposed to read those for Ron.
Yeah.
Those were not the correct ones. And then Harry's cup was supposed to have the Grim.
Just the Grim.
Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be some wonky cross suffering you're going to be happy about it thing. That was supposed to be for Ron.
Yeah.
Which kind of actually happens.
I mean, it's kind of right. All of theirs kind of like intertwined, so they all kind of go through the same emotions at the same time.
Yeah. That's true.
Now we go to Care of Magical Creatures. Also, the layout of Hogwarts grounds changed.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it did.
I was like, everything is in different places. It's more mountainy now. Like, before it used to be like this big flat expanse.
Yeah.
And now it's like all kinds of hills and climbing and walking.
I
and
think
I'm like,
part of it may have been they had to relocate where they were filming.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Either
Which is fine.
because
It was
of
just like,
director or because they had a bigger budget, they could use a different
access a new...
Because this has $30 million more than the last one. So they could access a better venue for what they wanted. So it could be either of those things.
That was something that I was just like... That was also part of my issue with this, because it's like... that it looks like a totally new place. It's like... We literally just started over, and so it's like, this whole layout is totally different.
There was times throughout this and the next one where I was like, why didn't they just completely start over? They lost Dumbledore. They got a new director. Why didn't they just start over the whole series and just scrap the first 2? That's what I was thinking for part of it, because it just didn't make sense half the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then... It's nice that they didn't, because it would have ruined the whole age thing.
Yeah.
And then they would have been off-kilter, and we would have literally had to, like, completely start over.
Yeah.
But now we get to meet...
Hagrid the teacher.
And experience Care of Magical Creatures.
And they don't really show it as much in the movie, but he is so excited and so nervous for this.
He just, like, he wants to share his love of creatures with other people.
Yeah.
And... this is another one of my book-to-movie things, because we get to meet the hippogriff, Buckbeak, singular.
Yay, Buckbeak.
In the book, there's a whole bunch of them, and everybody
like
gets to try. There's 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably 7 because magic.
Yeah.
Because magic.
But
I like what they did, because it gave more focus on Buckbeak and was able to portray him, I think, perfectly.
I think he
Whereas
would've done
if there
really
was
well.
more than one,
Something may have
it would have,
suffered.
something would have suffered, and he would not. None of them would have looked good enough. It wouldn't have been what we had imagined.
But if we didn't have a shrunken head, we could probably have one more hippogriff.
I like the shrunken head. So I'm
But yeah,
willing to sacrifice
Buckbeak
it for
himself was nice, and
Yes.
it changed the lesson plan a little bit because in the book there's more hippogriffs, so everybody kind of
Gets to
goes at
come
the same
try.
time.
Yeah.
And so originally you see them try with like their own hippogriffs and stuff, and so then the whole scene with Harry still happens, and
Yes.
so he flies on Buckbeak, and it's super magical, awesome. And
Except for
then-
Harry doesn't like flying on Buckbeak as much as he
As
likes
much as
flying
he-
on a broom.
Yeah, because it's rocky and uneven, and it's an animal versus a broom.
It's like riding a horse or a bike. Completely different experiences.
Yes. And so then he comes back, and then he gets to hang out with Buckbeak pretty much, and like kind of watch everybody else kind of give it a go. And then after a while, Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle, they kind of take over with Buckbeak, and that's when the whole situation with Malfoy happens because he is being stupid and insulting,
Yeah,
and
because Buckbeak has allowed them to come up, but then he starts insulting them.
and they're
being
very
like, "You're
proud
not
creatures, and that's
dangerous
the
at
one
all,"
thing
and
you're
all
not
that.
supposed to do. He's like, you're just a great stupid chicken.
Yeah.
Hagrid did tell them not to insult, and Malfoy wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad they made a point of doing that in the movie too. It's like, this is the point, this is the reason he got hurt. Not just because he's a dumbass, or he's mean, but because he's also a dumbass.
He's a dumbass.
And then one thing I did not like was that Hermione's time turner was showing.
yes,
This
thank
should not have
you.
happened
Yeah.
because
I didn't notice
she
it.
she
I
was
didn't.
sworn to secrecy about it. She was not allowed to tell anyone.
Nope.
McGonagall went through all kinds of hoops.
To let them do that, like, she's an exceptional student, she's the brightest of her age, like, she deserves to be in all these classes, she will absolutely follow all of the rules, and so then it just kind of, like, showing is like, well,
yeah, it
that's
just
not...
shows that Hermione. It makes it seem like Hermione doesn't care.
Yeah, it
when
seems
she
a
really
little less
does.
careful.
And
Also, awkward Hermione-Ron interactions.
yes,
It was
Yeah,
just like,
that was
that
awkward.
was weird. And then Hagrid's relief that Harry survived
Yes.
the first lesson. Like, maybe it shouldn't have been so scary.
yeah.
I mean, he started out pretty big with hippogriffs.
Mm-hmm.
He started out smaller, but
But, you know.
go big or go home, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he goes small forever.
Yeah.
Which you don't get to see. You see
'Cause
them
he's-
later, and I'm glad we got to see them. But
Yeah.
he switches to creatures called flobberworms.
To me,
And they
it's
are
just
about
like
as interesting
earthworms.
as they sound.
It's like taking care of earthworms.
Except they're giant.
Yeah.
And then they feed him lettuce.
They feed them lettuce, and that's it.
Oh.
Like,
And
it's...
then they feed them too much lettuce and they die.
And they die.
Yeah.
Too much
Like,
lettuce.
Too much lettuce.
lettuce.
And then their final is taking care of one of them. And it's just like, you don't
Sure
do
it
anything.
survives.
Yeah. You don't have to do anything. You just sit there.
And then
So-
Draco gets to be a big old bitch again, and this is our first exposure to Pansy,
I'm
too.
done! Yes.
Yeah.
So we get to see her for the very first time in the Great Hall, Pansy Parkinson.
Oh,
And she's
Draco.
fawning over Draco like she always does. Just like, hit. Draco's being a drama queen.
But
As
actually,
always.
she's interesting to me.
Pansy?
Yes.
Mhm.
Not that she likes Draco, but just her
Her
character.
character
in
is
general.
interesting. Yes. Well, and she is the first pureblood woman that we get exposed to, and that's why I think she's interesting, because all we've seen is men so far. We haven't gotten to a pureblood woman just yet.
And she also doesn't entirely act as though she's better than everyone.
No, she's just constantly attached to Draco's hip.
Mm-hmm.
More panic about Sirius, and then we get to Lupin's first lesson.
The Boggart.
Pockets.
Which,
Just, the ridiculous spell.
mhm.
Love it.
And it doesn't actually occur in Lupin's in the Defense
classroom.
Against the Dark Arts classroom. It occurs in a different room.
It's
In
the staff.
yeah, the staff, because the Boggart moves into a wardrobe
Yeah.
in the staff room,
And,
and
he
they're going to
found
get rid
one,
of it.
and so they're
So they just let him.
it's kind
They're
of
like,
double
hey, can I
duty
just
here.
use this as a lesson? So he says yes, or they say yes, and so he uses it as a lesson. And I kind of like what they did with the movie, but I really wish that it had been what I imagine when I read it. Even now, I just imagine a big circle with the
wardrobe
on one side, not in the middle, on
Oh.
one side, and they just all and it just kind of like bounces between them.
Yeah.
Yes, I was thinking.
That's kind of the vibe I got too, because it's just like there's so many people and it's picking and choosing and picking and choosing. And so the deal with a boggart is that no one knows what a boggart looks like in its regular form, because as soon as you see it, it turns into your greatest fear. So they have no idea what it looks like.
I really
alone.
wish somebody was afraid of just a bugger.
Right?
That'd
Like
be
I'm just
fun.
terrified of the idea of this boggart. Like,
Can that be my fear, please?
can that be my fear so I can see it?
Except for I know exactly what it would turn into, and I don't want it to turn into that.
You're like, let's
Like,
not.
there is no ridiculousing that.
And so I agree. I thought they did a really good job of it, and it was the first montage that we've
Yeah.
seen. And so
I feel like it's one of the first, like, actually teaching
Yeah.
something that could be used
yeah, Lupin's
outside.
actually like
A really good teacher.
Yeah.
he's a great teacher. He's actually good at what he does.
Because you
And
get to
he's-
see, like, herbology and everything, and it's like, okay, that's fine, but when am I going to use that? You know, like, I feel like with something like this, it could be...
it's a little bit more productive.
It's more productive, more practical.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I thought they did a good job. Parvati's is not funny.
That's not funny.
That is
Turning
a
snake
giant
into a
Jack in the Box.
Okay, I
That's a
wasn't sure
scary
if that was
clown.
actually her, because it's a different actress that plays her later on.
Yeah, they change actresses a lot.
Yeah, to be fair, they were twins. They were still like actual real life twins.
Yeah.
The first time,
It just
and
wasn't
then
the ones
they
that I
switched.
remember.
I thought I looked that up once, and I thought they were the same, and they just looked different.
They just changed that much.
like they matured and changed the style of them enough that.
They look
completely
different. Okay.
But I don't know. I might be totally wrong. But yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's like Parvati, and hers was not funny. It was still scary.
That was
No.
scary. I was like, that's not funny. That's scary. It's like this big
Also-
clown Jack in the Box? No.
Neville's success on the first try is so important. I
Yes.
think like that was such a good lesson
Uh-huh.
for him. Like he followed all of the directions clearly, and he did it on the first try. And in the book, he actually gets to go twice.
And also-
so,
Who he picked, well, who his fear is, and what he did becomes slightly important.
yes,
It's hilarious in the
and
book.
I wish they would have done more in the movie.
I really
but
wish they would have done the Christmas thing.
The Christmas thing was the best.
When we get to Christmas, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
So
and then
they get their first Hogmeets trip, and
Harry doesn't get
Harry
to go.
doesn't get to go.
Which really sucks. And I'm glad McGonagall does feel bad.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I'm literally like, I can't do anything. I know your guardians suck ass, but there's literally nothing I can do.
Yeah.
She's
She's like, sorry.
sorry, fam.
And it makes it even more, like, in the books, it's even more heartbreaking that he doesn't get to go, because he tried so hard to behave
Mhm.
to get to go, and
Yeah,
he
you
just
don't really get to
fucked
see
it up
why.
right at the last second.
It kind of seems,
She
and I
pushed
mean,
him.
Yeah.
yeah. I really enjoyed the fact because we get to see Harry and Lupin after this, because Harry's like the only one left at Hogwarts. Everybody
Yep.
else went from third year and up, and you have to admire Remus Lupin, because he has to go through this whole movie playing it cool, knowing damn well that this is his best friend's son that he's teaching, and he has to like
Not saying
Not-
anything.
not say anything and not get too involved and
Yeah.
not say too much at the wrong time. Like he has to be his teacher, not like Uncle Remus is what he would have been.
That's
Yeah.
very difficult
And it's
to do.
sad, and
It's hard.
you know, it's something that you think about later on. It's like that was really hard for him
Yeah.
up to this point, because he would have been family for
Yeah.
Harry, and that's Harry like automatically gravitates towards him, and I think that's really important. And he like automatically feels a draw to
Yeah.
him, and he's like, this person gets me, and he's important.
Remus
And-
is my favorite teacher so far.
So
Mhm.
far. Okay. I've always liked Remus.
He is
actually
my,
competent.
out of all of them, he's my second favorite.
Mhm.
And it depends if it's dark arts or just teachers in general.
Just teachers in general.
Yeah.
okay, understandable.
And
And
then the fat lady is attacked
Yes.
in the picture.
Patrick gets ripped up.
And I was watching it the other day, and I swear to God, it looked like the twins, but it was not the damn twins. And then they moved, and I was like, your hair's not long enough. Your face isn't old enough. Like, why do you look so different
Why
than
do
you
you
do
look
later
so
on in
different?
the movie? Because they do look completely different in this scene than in the rest of the movie.
They pieced it together, and it's like...
Reshoots.
So I was
Yeah.
super confused, and I was like, what the fuck?
My favorite part of this scene is the giraffe. The giraffe is my favorite. I don't know if you noticed the giraffe or not. There's a
across
giraffe
all
that
the
walks
pictures,
through
just
all of the
walks through.
pictures.
Oh.
And there's literally, like, when it zooms out and you see him on the staircase, he is a giant giraffe.
Yeah.
And he, like, his whole body walks through, like, 10 portraits.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
all the way through it. And then you get to see him again at the very end behind the fat lady. And he's like, do through the picture. And I'm
Yep.
like,
Oh,
he's my favorite.
okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So cute.
And then the one thing that I was not happy with was that they didn't put Sir Cadogan in. He is hilarious. And he's also part
Sir
of...
Cadogan was...
That's how you say it. And he's also part of the reason that Sirius gets in the
Later.
common room later.
Which you don't...
They
I guess they don't
do
do
it
that.
in the
They don't
movie.
really do it. He does... No, they don't do it at
They
all.
don't do it.
He doesn't
Not
get
at
in.
all.
So there's a point, this is a book thing, Sirius actually gets into Harry's actual dorm
Yep.
at one point. And so what happens is that, so the fat lady got attacked and they replace her portrait while she's being restored.
And
And-
because she is afraid, she doesn't want to be there because she's afraid she'll get attacked again.
Yeah. And so the only portrait that was dumb enough to take the job is Sir Cadogan, and he's from like some random floor
He's
way up on
up
the
by
side.
Trelawney's.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay.
the first time you meet him, he had just fallen off. He
His
is a
horse.
pretty short, fat guy, and he had just fallen off a pretty short, fat pony.
Yes. And so he's up there in that hallway by himself, and he always challenges everybody that walks by to like duel him and stuff. And he's just a short,
He's
fat little knight. That,
Constantly changing the password.
yeah. So they put him in
Constantly.
front, and he changes it all the time. So Neville writes down the passwords so that he doesn't forget,
Ah.
and Neville loses the list.
Yep.
They
And
think
so-
he thinks he loses it.
Well, he thinks he loses it.
Crookshanks
Yeah.
comes and takes it because
And-
Crookshanks is in allegiance with
Serious.
Sirius because Crookshanks knows
What he is.
Scabbers is and
Mhm.
what Padfoot is.
Because Crookshanks is part Kneasel, and you don't know that either.
Yep.
You just think he's a
No
cat.
one knows what a measle is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
And Kneasel is more intelligent than...
Yeah. No.
They're good companions,
Booth is
and
in
they... Yes. And they know extra things, obviously.
Sometimes.
So,
Sometimes he's a Kneasel.
Crookshanks is a much bigger character, too. But so
Yeah.
Crookshanks steals it and takes it to Sirius, and Sirius gets into the tower, and so Harry's like asleep, and he wakes up because Ron is screaming
Yes.
about
murder.
like screaming bloody murder, and so they all wake up, and Ron's like hangings around his bed are slashed and in tatters, and he was like, "It was Sirius Black," and he's panicking, and they're like, "There's no freaking way he got all the way in here." So they all go down, and isn't it Percy that goes out and talks to the portrait, and he's
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck happened? Like, I'll handle this because I'm a prefect."
Yeah.
Or
McGonagall.
well, or he goes and yeah,
Gets
Percy does
McGonagall.
something in this scene.
Yeah,
Goes
Percy-
and gets McGonagall, comes back. This is what happened. This is what Ron's saying. He is like sold on his story. This is what happened. She goes out and asks him, and he's like, "Well, yeah, he had all the passwords. I let him in."
Yep. Yeah, that's in the book.
Yep.
Like he had the whole list, and then we find out like
Max
Neville
Neville.
fucked up, and
That
so
was a big part that I think was very important.
yeah, and so then
Because
poor
you-
Neville gets like exiled, and
Yeah.
McGonagall tells the entire house not to tell him the password, and so he like waits outside in the hallway for someone to let him in.
Yep.
Till someone takes pity on him because he done fucked up.
Yeah. It's all
That
in
was-
the book.
That was a big tangent, but that was really important.
Yep.
Um,
So they close off the castle, and
and they all go sleep in the Great Hall.
Yep, they're sleeping in the Great Hall, and they're searching.
Big fluffy purple sleeping bags.
My favorite deleted scene.
Yeah, there's a little extra of them filming, and Michael Gambon like goes over and farts on
He's a fart machine.
He's
or
got
a fart machine. Is
Him
what
and
it
Rickman
is.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just laughing their asses off, and they put it like next to Harry and next to some of the other students
That's
and
awesome.
play pranks on him.
Ruse around with them. Like that sounds
The
like
whole
something
room
Alan
starts
Rickman
busting
would
out
do.
laughter.
And then, so Snape is trying to convince Dumbledore that Lupin is helping Sirius into the castle.
And you totally cannot blame Snape for that. Like,
Because
honestly,
they were best
like,
friends.
They were best friends. Why wouldn't you be suspicious of that? And Dumbledore's like, no. And I'm like, okay, but...
You don't actually, he doesn't say it,
He doesn't say his name.
but Lupin was not helping him in.
No.
He was not helping him
He was
until
never helping
he
him at any
realized at the end, when, at the
at the
shack,
Shrieking Shack.
is when he was helping him. Before that, he was not helping him at all. And they make it seem like he is helping him the whole entire movie.
And you worry about it because you love Lupin so much, and you're like, but is he really helping him into the castle? How else is he getting in?
Yeah.
I just thought Sirius was a badass, so he found his way in.
He's pretty badass.
He is. And there's
No,
a different...
Crookshanks is helping him.
Yeah.
I only know about in the book. I mean,
Yeah.
Cinematically, all the leaves falling off of the Whomping Willow was hilarious.
Yes.
Yes.
And it, like, shivers because it's cold. It's like, ooh, it's a little chilly.
And then Snape takes over Defense Against the Dark Arts because Lupin is sick. Sickish.
Sick. Air quotes.
Air quotes.
Magic Hermione.
Yeah. He teaches about werewolves.
And I like the line, even though it's very rude to Hermione, I just like Snape's...
Insufferable know-it-all.
Yeah, he's like, that's the second time you've spoken out of turn. Are you incapable of controlling yourself, or do you enjoy being an insufferable know-it-all?
You're just like, God damn.
I'm like, that's
ouch.
rough, but that's freaking funny.
It's pretty funny,
Fact.
like, the delivery is, like, and obviously Alan Rickman has perfect delivery on everything.
Yeah.
But it's just like, can you talk to a student like that? Like, dang, that was so mean. But it was
don't
good,
care.
but it was mean.
And they're learning about werewolves, which tips Hermione off to Lupin being a werewolf.
Yes. Afterwards, we go to the world's most awful Quidditch weather ever.
It's like,
Like, complete monsoon, hurricane, downpour,
Were they
whatever.
playing Hufflepuff?
they were
Yes.
playing
Yes.
Hufflepuff.
Okay.
There's
And-
This is when you're supposed to meet Cedric Diggory because
Yeah.
he's
When you're
secret for the
supposed to
Hufflepuff
be.
Yeah,
team.
he's supposed
And
to
that
be
is
the secret.
not Robert Pattinson, fam. That's not
No.
who
That is not.
So,
Yeah,
recasting.
It's supposed to be Cedric.
Yep, that was supposed to be Cedric Diggory.
And this game goes mostly correct. And they portray the Grim differently in the movie than they do in the books because what is supposed to happen is Harry's trying to see, obviously, and it's like impossible to see in the weather and stuff like that. And he glances over the stands at one point and he sees the Grim in the stands, like, by people and stuff like that,
Yeah.
not like the silhouette in the clouds.
Yeah.
And so that's when he's like, whoa, and then all of the Dementors swarm the field, and he passes out and he falls and everything.
And the Dementors are attracted to the Quidditch game because there's so many emotions going
Yes,
on.
like, everybody's packed at the stadium and they just couldn't resist. And, like, terrible weather and everybody's, like, anxious and worried and...
Yeah.
So they're just like, let's go. This is like a smorgasbord of emotions at this game. And so then Harry still falls and he still passes out and everything. And what they don't tell you is that right when Harry fell, Cedric caught the snitch.
Yep.
And then he tried to call for a rematch because he didn't think it was fair because Harry fell. And that's such a Hufflepuff move and you don't
is
get to
Such
hear
a
about
Hufflepuff
it.
move.
Because he
And-
wants fairness. And he's like, no, that's not fair. I want a redo.
And in the movie, they don't show that. They show that the Hufflepuff fell.
Yeah,
The
he was like
fake
reaching
Cedric.
and then he like freezes and
Yeah.
falls and whatever that was.
And that doesn't
but
happen.
That's not real.
Because Cedric
It's not
actually,
real life.
he does get it.
Yeah, he catches it and they win. And it's
And
over.
he's upset that they won because he didn't think it was fair.
Yeah.
Such a Hufflepuff thing.
Yes.
God.
And then I'm glad that they... So what ended up happening is... and I don't remember if they say it or not, is that the Harry's broom flew into the Whomping Willow?
They
Yeah.
do
Did
say
they
it fell
actually
in the
state
Whomping
that?
Willow.
Okay, yeah. And so his broom is trashed and they think that Oliver is still drowning himself in the showers over the loss.
Yes.
Because he's just so high-strung over Quidditch that he just
He
can't.
loves
And then,
Quidditch.
because of this attack, Harry asks Lupin to teach him to defend himself against the Dementors.
Because he's tired of fainting, he's tired of hearing screams, like, tired
Because
of being made fun of.
you don't really get it in the movie, but that's his mom. It's his
Yeah,
mom.
that's what I
It is
gathered.
his mom's screams
Um,
from her death.
And it's not in the book. It's not just his mother.
Yeah,
he hears,
eventually
he
he
does
does
hear
hear
his
his
dad.
dad
Yeah.
as well. And it just makes it too hard, and he doesn't want to hear that anymore, so he needs this defense against them.
Tired of it, I gotta fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so...
We go
Harry almost dies. Oh, also Dumbledore saved him with wandless magic. Again,
Yes.
he's just like, I don't need a wand to stop this boy falling from the sky. Dumbledore. And then something that is cut that I just remembered off the top of my head is the next Quidditch game, the next Gryffindor game.
Is versus Ravenclaw.
Is versus Ravenclaw.
And that's where you're supposed to meet Cho. Because
Yeah.
she's the secret.
Because Cho's the secret for the Ravenclaw Quidditch team, and you never
So
know
these people that you're meeting in the next movie,
You've
you
never
should
had
have
any
already
exposure to.
met them.
Yeah. And he has a couple of moments where he's like, she's like really pretty, but she's
Yeah.
also really good at her position. Like, she's a good player.
Yeah.
And so then this game is going on and everything, and Harry looks down and there's 3 Dementors on the field. And this is after he's been practicing his Patronus and he's super prepared, and so he casts it at him, and then one of the Dementors trips and falls over. Malfoy and Crabbe and Goyle and Pansy
Yes.
dressed up as Dementors to fuck Harry up at this game. And he
They're
cast,
dicks.
like, a pretty decent Patronus at these kids, and they tripped and fell over.
Yeah.
And you never get to see that, because Malfoy will not let up this whole book.
Yeah.
He is just ribbing Harry for passing out and, like, being susceptible to sadness.
Yeah.
Tired.
God forbid should you have feels.
So the next thing is Harry is trying to sneak into Hogsmeade. Yeah. And Fred and George stop him. Grab him by the arms.
I just love this because this is our first, like, real Fred and George scene, like,
Yeah.
really
Classic
getting to
Fred
know
and
them.
George.
Yes.
And you get the back and forth, and you get, like, you
Finish
get the
each other's
full,
sentences, all
the full
that.
twin deal here,
Yeah.
and it's perfect. And,
They give him the Marauders map.
And
Yeah.
show them how to use it.
Yep.
and I thought they did a really good job with that, too. Like, that turned out looking a lot different than I pictured, but it totally made sense.
Yeah.
I liked how there was folds upon folds.
Yes.
Yes,
And
that
it
was
kept
what I
going.
thought. Yeah, and it just, you keep
Because
unfolding it to see
you never
more.
get to see the whole thing of Hogwarts.
Yeah, you
And
gotta, like,
it just keeps going.
because
and
it's
going.
really big. It's a
Yeah.
big map.
And so he gets to Hogsmeade. It doesn't tell you, it doesn't show you how he gets there, but there's a one-eyed witch, and that's the passage that he takes because that's the one that Filch
About that.
does not know.
It's a ton
And
of
he gets
reasons
the
that
little,
Honeydukes.
the little speech bubble on the map is like, this is what you say
Yep.
to go into this passage.
Yep.
And then we go to Honeydukes, and Honeydukes is so cool, and I want to go in real life.
It's really cool.
Like, look at that candy. Like, that
It's-
is, like, the best. I want to
Like,
go
you
so
walk
bad.
in there and you just don't even know what kind of candy you
You're
want
like,
to buy.
I don't
You're
even
just
know
like,
where
I
to
just need
begin.
everything. I just need all of the candy.
Oh, also, we got to see Newt Scamander on the map.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
He's
It's
just
just
like-
like, thing.
Right? I'm like, hi, what the fuck are you doing here? What are we doing?
And at the Shrieking Shack, Hermione is not actually there. She's not
No.
supposed to be there because she's mad
At Ron.
at Ron.
Because Crookshanks and Scabbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all that.
And
The Shrieking Shack scene was pretty close,
yeah,
but
except for Malfoy, the cloak slips and Malfoy sees Harry's head. Is what's supposed to happen.
and then Harry's supposed to run back to Hogwarts, and
That's how the map
that's how the
gets
map comes
confiscated.
about.
Okay.
And that's how the whole Snape scene happens with him, like, reading it and everything. And I'd also like to point out that we really don't see Goyle in this movie.
No.
It is Theodore Nott. It is not Gregory Goyle.
Yep.
And that's really the only exposure we get to him,
Yeah.
except for, like, random face in the crowd later
Yeah.
on. But this is the only time he's, like, prominent. But they don't really, like, they never name him.
Nope.
You never hear who it is, but we deduce it by ourselves.
So Harry is throwing snowballs at them from under the invisibility cloak,
Yep.
and then
The
they
inconspicuous meeting
Yeah.
at 3 broomsticks. Like,
which
It's like, come on, really?
why did we think this is a good idea?
different in the books.
They're
They're allowed in Honeydukes, the kids, and they
And
go.
3 broomsticks?
Yep, not Honeydukes. We were talking about Honeydukes.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
wrote
down
down
the line.
3 broomsticks too.
And you still just...
Yep. So they were actually allowed in, and
They sit at a table, like,
the
far
back.
away from them, and Hermione levitates a tree in
Christmas
front of
tree.
the table so they can't see them. And so Harry just is under the cloak,
Yep. And then
listening.
Then they start talking about it, and they just talk about it in
the pub, just in front of God and everybody. So
Flitwick is in that too.
yes,
Flitwick
is
and
also there.
Hagrid.
And Hagrid and
Yeah.
McGonagall and Rosmerta.
Yep.
And Cornelius.
Yep, they're all there. So that's how it's different there.
And then Harry finds out that Sirius is his godfather, and he's like,
Yep.
what the actual
And
fuck? Why
killed
does my
his
family
parents
suck?
was the reason that
Betrayed.
his parents were killed.
Yeah, betrayed him, and
Yep.
so... Hermione comforting Harry was super cute, though.
Yep.
Yes.
Rightfully, Harry is upset.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah,
like,
I'd be
that-
pretty pissed.
That's
Like,
like
a huge...
that's like Hermione or Ron betraying him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's crazy.
Yep.
He was their friend!
I could see if I had that.
And then he has the Dementor lessons.
Yep.
Use a boggart.
Yep, they do use a boggart, so it's not.
Yeah,
as
so that's
strong.
not really... I mean, I guess he does say it, but it's not really
He does
like,
say it.
He
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
Um,
substitution.
Yes.
Yes.
But he doesn't really explain it in the movie, but he uses multiple memories. He does flying first, and then
He, like, cycles through a couple
he
of
goes
different...
through multiple
Winning
ones
like
before
the House Cup or
yeah,
something.
before he
Yeah.
actually lands on his parents.
Mhm. Also, the fact that he's casting even a half-decent Patronus at
Yeah.
13 years old when most grown adults cannot do it.
Yeah.
Because
Ronald has lost his rat.
Yep. So Scabbers disappeared, and Ron's mad at
And
Hermione
he's pissed at Hermione
because
for
he
it.
thinks Crookshanks ate him.
Which, I mean,
Would not.
That's fair.
well,
do that.
I mean,
we should have let him do that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then
Killed Scabbers.
Hagrid lost
Long ago.
the
He
trial.
lost the hearing, and so that's another one that's big in the book is
Yeah.
while Ron and Hermione are fighting this whole time, Hermione is helping Hagrid study up for this hearing that he's supposed to have to protect Buckbeak because Lucius Malfoy was like, let's kill this thing for hurting my son.
On
And-
top of all of her classwork.
Yeah,
And
so
they
on
don't
top of
show
the time
it.
turner, on top of
They
everything.
don't show it very well in the movie at all, but she is running ragged. She looks as
Like,
bad
she
as
is-
Lupin.
Dead, like
She doesn't have any energy, and
Too
she
much,
still
too much.
finds time to go
to
help
go
Hagrid.
help Hagrid, and Harry and Ron are just assholes.
yeah.
And then we get to see Peter Pettigrew on the map.
Yep, which doesn't happen that way, but
No.
Well,
Lupin sees him on the map after he's confiscated it. Is
Yeah,
what's
we don't-
supposed to happen.
They changed it so that was the lead up to
Yeah.
Snape seeing the map rather than after the Hogsmeade trip and turning out his pockets and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it was much funnier in the book
Yeah, there's
because
so
Oh,
many
so
more
much more.
insults.
so many insults from each
I
one
loved
individually.
That section. That was one of my favorite chapters.
They did. I'm glad they took the last one, like the final
Yeah.
insult, and that was the one that they
Yeah,
had
that
in
was
the
funny.
movie. But
Because
yeah,
all four of them said something.
I just love that he's like, it's obviously dark magic, and Remus is like, you're full of shit. This is obviously a joke product. Like, what do you even?
One thing we didn't say about Chamber, and that also applies to this, is Arthur Weasley has told Ginny multiple times, if you can't see where something
Yes.
keeps its brain,
Don't
you
trust
shouldn't
it.
trust it.
Yeah.
And he's talking
In the
about
book.
the diary that's in the book in Chamber of Secrets. And then Harry is thinking that the entire time he's using this map.
And
But
he's like,
he
what?
doesn't really, he's like, but this doesn't seem to be harming me.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing any harm to just
Yeah.
see where things are happening, and then he sees, well, and
Everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Remus saves his ass without blowing his cover. Still,
Yeah.
he
'Cause
still
Remus-
manages to
Because Remus
like
is a badass.
smooth it over,
Mm-hmm.
and
Lupin
Also-
gets mad
yeah,
that Harry has it because this is a huge sign that he is not helping Sirius. Even though you just constantly think he's helping Sirius, he's helping Sirius. This is a huge sign he's not because he gets mad at Harry for having the map.
and for even attempting to go out and disobey the rules that were clearly set just for him,
Yeah.
because Sirius is after him.
Yeah.
It was such a guilt trip. I loved
It was
it.
such a guilt trip.
Such a guilt trip. Like,
And so-
you kind of sound
Um,
like a parent right now.
My hang-up was that we never really addressed. In the movie, they don't say how Lupin knows it's a map.
Yeah.
yeah,
they
exactly.
never know that it's a map, and he's like, blah, 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 map. And I'm like, we didn't do that, though. That's a big plot hole.
Yeah.
Like, that immediately alerts you to something that... And maybe they left it that way on purpose because we didn't have as much background, but that was something that bothered me, was that they never say it.
Same.
Yeah.
Like, in the... Because I think in the in the book, he does, like, say something about the map, and Harry's like, how do you know it's a map? Like,
He's like, because I made it.
yeah. And so they do the thing,
Yep.
but they don't do it in the movie, and I'm like,
I thought he had it at some
Trelawney
point.
again, sassy Hermione again.
Yep.
She's like, let me guess.
Ron is falling asleep.
The Grim. Ron is literally, like, dead in this class because it's just bullshit.
Trelawney's insult to Hermione was great.
It was so good. Plus,
Like,
she's
there are
just
so
"Oh,
many
da-da-da-da."
insults to Hermione that I'm just like, those are perfect. Because they dig right into her.
They do. You, like, kind of feel bad, but then you're like, I mean,
Well, okay.
you kind of bring it upon yourself. But, yeah, Trelawney sassing her back was just like, oh,
Yep.
well.
She did, like, just so matter of fact.
Yep.
Yeah, she literally, and then she's like, was it something I said? Like, she's literally just being truthful and factual.
Yeah.
And
Oh, snap.
they're just like, damn.
And so Hermione knocks the crystal ball over and leaves.
Deuces. Never coming. That's the last time she attends, by the way. She drops
does
it
not,
after that.
She just goes to Muggle studies. She doesn't do that. So Harry takes the crystal ball back, and Trelawney has her
Premonition!
second ever actual premonition.
Her second real one.
Yes.
The real one. Yeah.
What was her
And-
first one?
We can't do that.
We can't do that yet.
Okay.
I was like,
I'm like,
When
we
I was like, when we get to 5.
We'll get there. We'll do that. But
can't.
I was like,
but yeah, this is her second official premonition,
Yes.
and then her post
Oh, that's
premonition
right.
shit was just like, it was like she had hairball, and I was just like, are you okay? Like, you're nuts.
The executioner, they don't say his name, but that is McNair.
Yes,
He is a
thank
Death
you.
Eater.
He
Yes,
was
he is.
he was a Death Eater, and
Okay.
you never know that.
Yeah, they don't ever say
I
it.
thought it was Filch.
well, I can see that.
I mean, he's wearing a hood, so you don't really know,
Yeah.
but
And he's got that same pushback hair and
Yeah.
everything. I'm just like, I think.
Yeah, that is
Um,
McNair.
that is McNair, yeah. I had a little note in here for a filming thing. I really didn't like the little keyhole effect that they kept doing. Like, it started like nothing, and it was like the circle out. I was just like, God, this is stupid. Stop. But that's just me. Anyway, yeah, creepy McNair sharpening his blade.
So they go down to visit,
Going to
See
visit
Hagrid.
see Hagrid, and
punch Draco in the face.
Yep.
Go Hermione.
Great
Hermione
Hermione
punches him
moment
in the
there.
face.
One of the best top
Well,
3
in
Hermione
the book,
moments.
it does happen. She smacks him. She doesn't
Smacks
punch him
really
but
hard.
Yeah.
still, it gets the
She
point
literally
across.
like, it was such a good slap.
And Hagrid has scabbers.
Yeah, he's just keeping him in a tin. I'm like,
Yeah.
is there air in there?
No.
Not that I care, but
And the minister and company show up because I was too lazy to write out all the names.
Dumbledore's giving a very convenient tour as we go.
Dumbledore knows all.
Yeah.
Dumbledore.
He's like, look over here so that you're not looking at them.
And so they're Harry and them are leaving, and they think that Buckbeak is killed.
Yeah, so that, obviously, that's pretty. And really, though, Hermione's cheesy, sad, that was just awful.
I
That
think
whole scene
that-
I hate.
Yeah, I think
For-
that was the one bit that I didn't like from Emma Watson.
Yeah, it was
It's
not
just like,
good.
You've done so much better sad scenes, and you just, what the fuck was that?
And this was just like,
Just that one.
hug Ron's so sad, and I was just like, please stop.
That was
It was
uncomfortable.
It was really uncomfortable to watch, and then Harry's like,
Like, I'll try to be comforting, but I just can't.
he's like,
Yeah.
I need to get in on this, and it was just weird.
Yeah.
And I know they're still trying to play on like the Hermione Ron thing, but
Yeah.
it was just awkward to watch.
Poor Harry.
And then
Scabbers,
chaos.
Scabbers bites Ron and runs away.
Yeah.
And Ron's just
Scabbers.
like, after him.
No, and they're like,
What
where
are
are
you
you
doing?
going? Also, reminder that this is all after hours at this
Yes.
point. Like, you don't really think about it because it's light out, but they've also instituted a very strict
Yeah.
curfew because of Sirius Black.
6 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's chasing him, and he runs underneath the reach of the Whomping Willow.
Also, the Whomping Willow is a little bit more viney and less branchy
Yeah.
now because in Chamber it was like all fists,
Yes.
and then now it's like whips
Like
everywhere.
vines.
Yeah.
And so that scene, so this is another Crookshanks thing that they just cut it out of the movie and they didn't do
there's
it.
so many Crookshanks.
Crookshanks is really super smart, and so Hermione and Harry are standing there. Ron got dragged under into the Whomping Willow, into the tunnel. And Harry and Ron are just like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, how the hell do we get past these branches? And Crookshanks comes, like, wandering out of the forest, just whatever Crookshanks was doing prior to that. And he snakes and bobs and weaves all the way to the base of the trunk and presses a knot on the trunk, and they all stop moving. All the branches freeze.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like, this cat knows how to pause the tree? Like, so that was a big thing because there was, like, an actual reason behind Crookshanks and behind the tree and everything. And so them getting, like, flung into the tunnel, like, that works for time's sake.
Cinematic stuff.
Cinematic sake.
That bothered me. Hermione being drugged through all those branches and they're all hitting her in the face. You're going that fast, being drugged through that many.
Like, you are bloodied up.
Yeah. And she has one cut on her cheek.
Yep.
Like, seriously?
Also, she muscles Harry up by his shirt. Like, this girl, she's a 13-year-old girl, and she just, like,
I mean,
let's go.
She must be like a bot.
And, like, shit whipped him and brought him with her, and then, like, threw him into the tunnel. And I was like, how are you even lifting him by his t-shirt? Like, I don't...
Magic.
She hulks him in there, man.
They're in the Shrieking Shack, and Ron's like, it's Sirius! It's him! He's the Animagus!
And then you're like, oh shit, yeah, he is.
He's like, Sirius Black.
Yep. And then
Hermione
Lupin bursts
defending
in.
Harry again. Like, no, you have to go through us first. And she, like, completely shields him. I'm like, yay.
And one thing they kind of miss out they miss out a lot of the explanation of...
Oh, there's so much explanation.
Of the whole situation. Like, why they became Animagi.
Whole backstory.
And also, all three of them are believing Sirius, not just Harry. All three of them believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get the whole story behind why any of them are Animagus in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And
because they wanted to be able to be... They found out that why Lupin was disappearing every month, because they were his best friends. And then they wanted to be able to be with him when he did disappear, because the potion that he's supposed to drink lets him keep his mind while he's a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't go attack people.
The Wolfsbane.
Yep.
yeah. Wasn't that prior to the Wolfsbane, though? Or was it... Because I thought that was part of it, because... He
didn't have the Wolfsbane the entire time. It was a new invention.
Yeah, it was
a new discovery.
They were still fixing it, and so they became bigger size animals.
So that they could stop
Sirius
him.
as a dog, James as prongs, as a deer, a stag, and then obviously Wormtail as a rat, because he could get in and press the knot on the tree
So that
to the
they could
secret
all-
passage to take Remus away so that he didn't have to be at the school while he transformed, and that's
And
why it's
the
the
Shrieking
Shack.
Shack is not actually haunted.
It's
was
just Remus Lupin during his
Transformation.
time of the month.
Sirius does say something about medication during the altercation.
Yep.
Yes, and so that's the
That's
full
where I
explanation.
was like, there's something there.
And so when Snape shows up, Harry isn't the only one that disarms him. They all three try to.
Well,
That's in the book.
Yeah.
so what happens is that Harry, so Snape comes in, and Sirius and Lupin are both really caught off guard
Yeah.
by the whole situation. Harry ends up taking, because Remus disarmed them and has their 3 wands, Harry grabs the whole handful and just swings it, and Expelliarmus out of 3 wands at Snape and knocks him the fuck out. That's why, I mean, they tried to still make it powerful, but it didn't make sense.
Hermione doesn't freak out that he attacked a teacher, because she knows what he's going to do. And she's still trying to hear the whole thing, and she knows that they're telling the truth. So she doesn't freak out as much as it seems like she should.
Also, they don't really address exactly how Sirius escaped either, because he's an animagus. Dementors are not as perceptive of animal emotions because it's so basic.
And all 3 of
so,
them were illegal animagus.
Yeah,
Nobody
you have
knew
to
that they were.
register.
There's-
McGonagall is registered. Those 3 were definitely not.
And then there's another one that is not later in the books.
Yes.
Yep.
And so, but that was how he escaped, is he went into his dog form and it helped him keep his mind a little bit, and he slithered through the bars as a dog, and that's how he escaped.
Yep.
And that's why they haven't been able to track him at all, because he's been in his
Dog
animagus form the whole time.
I just
And
figured it's because he's a badass again.
it is. It is.
So the
but
thing I think
that's
is
why.
hilarious is Snape, Lupin, and Sirius insulting each other like they are still in school.
Literally,
Yeah,
like,
they're just
can you
going
people
at
get
it.
over themselves? Like,
You know, Snape still has that little grudge there, so.
always have a grudge against them forever.
Always.
So then Lupin and Sirius
let that shit
reveal Pettigrew.
And he is one scary motherfucker.
He
Ugly rat man.
looks- I think because he spent 12 solid years as a rat, he became more rat-like.
Probably.
Yes.
Because I feel like that would
Like-
have probably happened to Sirius too if he had spent those 12 solid years as a dog. He would have gotten those features.
Mm-hmm. Well, and thank the Lord we finally got around to the fact that it was Pettigrew that we were after and not Harry. Like,
Yes.
Sirius is so dramatic. Seriously, he's like, it's him and them and blah, blah, blah. And, like, just fucking say
He's
it.
like,
Quit
only one will
being-
die tonight. It's like, really?
Like,
Serious?
seriously, though, like,
Yeah.
just
Seriously.
literally just do it. Just say
So
what
much
you're-
drama.
you mean.
Yeah.
Just kill him.
So they all leave. And in the books, because Ron's leg is so messed up, he is tethered to Lupin and Pettigrew so that he can walk.
Because
and Pettigrew
it
is
was,
like
kinda
tethered,
Mm.
like to where
acting
he
like
can't
as
do
a-
anything.
Yeah. They
Um,
chained him up.
Sirius asks Harry to come and live with him.
Such a sweet moment,
Mhm.
because it's like everything Harry thought he knew about Sirius was wrong.
Yeah, and he
And it's
actually he can live the life that he actually wants to live instead of having to go back with
With-
the Muggles and be
Miserable.
yeah.
And it's the closest, like, quote-unquote family member that he could have. And so... And in the books, too, you hear the rest of the conversation, because Sirius offers for him to come live with him, and Harry's like, live with you? And he's like, well, I mean, if you don't want to, it's fine. And then Harry actually finishes the conversation, and he's
Yeah.
like, no, I would love it.
He's like, when can I come?
When can I
Yeah.
move in, kind of a thing. So... But you don't hear that because they cut it off, which is
Yeah.
fine, whatever.
Lupin turns into a werewolf. Sirius changes
So
to fight him off.
scary.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, such a good
That's
transformation.
one of the
So dark.
best werewolf transformations I've seen.
Yes.
Because a lot,
You
it's
see
really
a lot
hard
of
to
it.
do it.
You see a lot of it. And he wasn't hairy. He wasn't, like,
The-
textbook werewolf.
The limb extension alone.
Ugh, yeah.
Ow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's all I gotta say.
Because I love horror movies. There's so many werewolf transformations that I've seen, and some of them are really bad. This is one of the best ones I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Well, and poor Remus, too, because right after he transforms, he's like, huh, I don't like this. Like, I hate being like this.
Yeah.
And
Because he had been taking his potion, he just didn't take it that night.
Mhm.
because
So he
everything...
still, right at the beginning, had his mind,
And
and then loses it.
And then, honestly, Snape's instant protection of them, that's
Yes.
another
Yes.
small Snape moment.
Mhm.
And it's
Yes.
like, he's about to berate them, but as soon as he realizes there's danger, he immediately throws himself
Yeah.
in between that and the kids. And it's like,
And that's a moment where you can't deny that Snape actually does care
Mhm.
about,
Even a teeny
especially
tiny
about
smidgen.
Harry. It's just like he's there. He's trying to protect him from this thing. Like he could be bitten. He could be turned into a werewolf. He could
Right.
be killed, and he doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
like he's still doing what he needs to do. And you still don't really know the motive yet, but,
Yeah.
um...
You can claim it as part of a teacher thing.
Yes, exactly. And then they fight, and then Dementors almost ruin everything.
Yep.
And you get to
Large
see...
Patronus comes. Oh,
You see that last little bit of Sirius's
Prongs.
soul.
Prong shows up.
Pisses me off.
Yeah.
Prong shows up.
Yep, we get to see Prongs, which I was happy about because the whole Patronus thing was another sore spot for me because it's like this big silvery shield light thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but it's supposed to be an animal.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Why
The way
we
I
didn't-
imagined it going across the lake is like headbutting
Yeah,
all
literally like
of the
charging them.
Dementors.
And that's what he's supposed to do, and then that's not...
But he does.
That's
And
not what happens.
wake up in the hospital. Hermione tells Harry about Sirius.
Time.
3 turns on the time turner, which it's midnight. It's 5 minutes to midnight. They go back 3 hours. That does
That
not
puts 'em
equal 7:30. Got way too many hours.
I've
in
always
there.
wondered what the process is with the time turner. Like, is it like... Because it makes it seem like the turns are the measurements of time.
In the-
Like, is it only an hour?
In the book, I read this part this morning. When Hermione turns it back, and they get back. She says, we're 3 hours ago. We've gone back 3 hours.
because like one of the first things she does is finds a clock.
Yeah.
And she looks at it to see what time it is. Like,
so
where
just
are
the
we
way
at?
they did it, book versus movie, it just didn't make sense with the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically wash, rinse, repeat. We do the whole thing again.
Oh yeah, and then me and Jess were talking about the fact that the chain on the freaking necklace keeps changing length.
It changes.
Oh yeah.
Like it's normal and then
It's
it's
short and then
gigantic
it's long.
and then,
Like, really?
One thing they make a huge point of is you can't be seen, you can't be seen, you can't be seen. They run right past McNair.
yeah, we noticed him just chilling and like, oh well, we weren't supposed to do that, and we just did that.
Whoops.
Then Harry and Hermione save Buckbeak. Woohoo!
Yay.
Harry
Rocks
casts.
at themselves.
Yes. Harry casts his Patronus. I did it before, so I knew I could do it now. Type thing.
Hermione's
Yeah.
Oh.
And then Harry and Hermione save Sirius. And
Harry saves Harry.
Harry saves Harry. He trips so many times when he's running.
Literally, like, just run. Just
It's
run.
the common theme. Harry Potter does not know how to
He
run
just
well.
doesn't know. I
he
like that
gets-
we got to see a little bit of Hermione's dislike for flying.
Yes. On
Because
back of
the fact that we never see her fly on a broom.
Yeah.
Because, no. So we see her on Buckbeak and she's still like, oh, this is not enjoyable. This is scary.
Getting the firebolt is completely different.
Yeah,
Completely.
I've heard about that.
God, I think that's probably one of the reasons why I don't like this movie very much.
So
was a
he
big
gets the
thing.
firebolt at Christmas.
Mhm.
And they don't know who it's from. So Hermione tells McGonagall
She reports it because
she thinks it
it's
might be from Sirius Black, which it is.
Which, I mean, she's not wrong.
She's
But-
right, but
So McGonagall takes it.
And that's part of the reason why Ron and Harry were not talking to
Yeah,
her because
they
of
were
the
all mad.
firebolt.
They were mad at each other.
And they didn't help with Hagrid's hearing, and they didn't, like, plus Scabbers on top of that, like, they were just pissed off at her.
And then
for that.
also at Christmas, there's the Christmas crackers that the British people have, their tradition.
And they have presents inside
Yes.
of them.
And they have hats that you wear. The hat, so Dumbledore...
Wizarding crackers are much more elaborate,
Yes.
of course,
Yeah,
because
obviously.
magic.
Dumbledore shared one with Snape. Snape's always reluctant to do that
He
type
doesn't,
of thing.
and he
So
just hates it.
he opens
He
it,
pulls a cracker with
and
Dumbledore.
the hat comes out, and it's literally the hat.
The vulture
that-
hat from
Yes.
from the
And
Bogart.
Snape gets so mad.
He's
But
so-
Dumbledore just puts it on and
Dumbledore's
is so
like,
happy.
he swaps it for his wizard's hat, and he's like,
he's like, oh yeah.
He's
This
just
is my
so
hat.
thrilled with himself, and I just wish that had been in the movie because
It's
that would
such
have
a
been
Dumbledore
a comedic
thing.
relief type thing.
Such Dumbledore.
And
and so that was the funny little deal.
then Lupin quits because he knows that parents aren't going to want. Because Snape
Oh.
lets slip
Snape
that
let
he
it
was.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
he is a werewolf,
Yeah.
and
So, and he knows that parents aren't going to want their kids being taught by a
which
werewolf.
sucks because he's been the only competent teacher, and
That we get to see.
Yes.
As a,
yeah,
The
like
movie
he
power.
actually knew a bunch of stuff, and it was like a preferred class for a lot of the kids. They were actually like, oh, we can actually maybe learn something this year, and he leaves, and then awkward firebolt ending. That last frame is literally like one of my least favorite things. Like,
I turned away from the screen because I can't stand
like, why wouldn't you just let him like fly past? We can
Yeah.
see how fast the firebolt is. Why would you pause it
Yeah.
right at the end with his smeared face across the screen? Like, stop.
Yeah.
No.
Alright.
But the ending credits are awesome as the Marauders map.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
I like
Marauders map.
Yay.
Book comparison, we did that in the thing. So we're not going to do that. It's trivia. I have 3 again.
Okay.
This one's super easy. The Grim is an omen of what?
Death.
Dun dun dun. Death.
What must one say to hide the contents of the Marauders map?
mischief managed.
Good job. Mischief managed.
What headline does Harry read in the newspaper on the night bus?
Sirius Black escapes?
Nope.
No, I don't know.
Escape from Azkaban.
Ah.
More specific,
Okay.
but it's okay.
Favorite line?
He's like, it's something about Sirius.
Mine's for Sirius because it's his waiting line.
Oh, yes.
It says, I did my waiting! 12 years of it! In Azkaban!
I feel
I
like,
use that line all the time.
I feel feel like that should be it because we quote that all the time.
Literally
All the time.
All the time. There were some good ones in here.
I like Eat You'll Feel Better because I found that one recently and I love it.
I mean, I saw
Because
Program
that's my
Up to No
fix for
Good
everything.
Is in here too, and The Happiness Can Be Found also.
Yes.
But I like the 12 years. That works.
Yeah.
Yes. Score.
There was a lot of good ones in this one.
Yes. But that's my favorite.
All right, rating
8
8.
because I like the change, and I enjoyed it as its own individual thing.
And Dana.
I'm gonna give it like a 6. I'll stay on the positive end, but
I'm giving it a 5
Dang.
because there's just so many things just different comparison with the book. And I mean, I do like some things. I do like how they did the Dementors and some other things.
There's bright
but
spots.
There's some little bright spots, but overall for me, it's a 5.
Gotcha. I gave it a 7 just because I like how horror related it is. I mean, I know it's not a horror movie, but it makes me feel like it's going to end up being one.
yeah, it has a couple moments where it
Yeah.
kind of teeters on that, like the werewolf transformation. You're like, oh, this is a little.
And it's different. This is one that I definitely pull them apart and don't look at them as the same thing unless I'm trying to. I look at the book as its own thing. This is the point where I'm like, book and movie are not related anymore.
Like they're two separate things because I
Even though
cannot.
you should be able to relate them, but
Well,
You
we're gonna get into that chunk of movies here in a minute. So
All right.
I was like,
if we feel this way about Prisoner, then Goblet should be fun.
oh man, that one I could rip apart too.
All right. So our next event will be the Halloween one. It'll release on Halloween. That episode will be 4 of our favorite Halloween films, 2 from each of us. My choices are Hocus Pocus from 1993 and The House's October Built from 2014.
Alright, and my 2 choices are Paranorman, which is kind of like a stop motion, from 2012, and House, the original, black and white, with Vincent Price, House on Haunted Hill from 1959.
Nice.
Throwback.
Yes.
So you got 2 wins there.
And we are running a contest. So, oh, we already did that bit. Oh well. 1 out of every 10 people that leave a positive written review will randomly be selected to join for a movie of their choice. Not an event, because it's way too many movies.
Way too many.
It takes way too long to record. As we
Obviously.
just found
As we
out.
just figured out today.
So,
We
go
know
ahead
for
and
next time.
leave us some reviews.
Yeah. So, where to find us? You can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, which is cool. At Cat and Jess Talk the Best. You can email us at catandjesstalkthebest250@gmail. And our website is catandjesstalkthebest.podbean.com.
What about you guys? Where you at? People want to talk to you about Harry Potter? Where you at?
If people want to talk to us about Harry Potter, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter as well. You can just search Dana Hough. That's DanaHough is the last name. I should come up. And you can find me and message me. I love to talk about Harry Potter.
Twitter and Instagram, it's SendoshaDo0184. That's SENDOSHA DO0184. And Facebook is Erik Sandefur.
There you go.
Ta-da! Yeah.
And you can find the show on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, everywhere pretty much.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And our opening music is by Audio Binger. Anything we have past or present, all of it's by him. And he is on Facebook, YouTube, and his website is audiobinger.net. And that's all we got.
Yep.
That's it.
Hooray.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
She has a porg.
I do have a porg. He's so cute.